community. So if you want to change the world, start with women, right? And I think that the biggest lesson in my journey is that, and what I speak to women about, is really to dare to see new possibilities for yourself and for the world. I think so many times we live so small, we live life on default, right? And do these things because of who we think we should be or the life that we think we should have. But when we pause to really connect with who we are and what brings us joy and follow that path, follow that intuition, then that really leads to greater things.
Welcome to another episode of Women Investing in Women. Robin and I are always excited week after week to showcase different women from different walks of life, how they are showing up in this world and how they are lifting up women. And together as a global community of women, how we are changing the paradigm and how we are building a world that is better for us, for our children, and thereafter. You are going to absolutely love the woman we're going to be talking today. She has a social impact mission and the lived experience of how do you do well by doing good. Robin, I cannot wait for you to introduce our guest today. Go ahead.
So I am so excited to have Erin Attere as our guest. I met her several months ago at a positive living experience conference. And she was sharing during the conference, and I thought, oh my gosh, we need to have her on our program. And she has a company called Threads Worldwide, where she works with women in 8 different countries. And I'm sure that we'll be adding to those countries, where these women create jewelry or create clothing or other items that they can sell, and they can help elevate themselves in their financial situation. And so, Erin, please tell us about Worldwide Threads, how you started it, and the beginning discussion of how you got involved in helping women.
Yeah, thank you, Robin. Such an honor to be here. It's funny, God, universe, whatever you believe, has a vision for your life sometimes that's bigger than you ever expected. I never thought jewelry would be my passion, but here I am. I've always had a passion for people. And so my formal education is in psychology. I started in a nonprofit doing work with women and girls specifically around empowerment. But I married a husband who was also a nonprofit, Robin, and we learned very quickly that someone's got to make profit. And so I was in corporate America for 20 years, a very successful career, climbing the ladder, missing 3 of my oldest daughter's first 4 birthdays because of business travel. And thank God COVID hit, and I had a wake-up call to really connect with who I am and what I want to create in the world. And so at that time, during a business meeting, 30 minutes discussing the word the versus a, I was like, this is not it. I need something else in my life. And luckily, a friend of mine had just started this company, Threads Worldwide, and I had heard about the impact of what she was doing. Women who were formerly working in the sex trade or had to choose which child eats for the day were able to earn dignified income through making these beautiful handmade fair trade pieces that she created a global marketplace for here in the United States. And so I partnered with her, grew that company significantly, and now we travel the world to meet our artisan partners. So I've been to Vietnam, Bolivia, Guatemala, we're headed to Ecuador soon, etc. We take our team out there so they can see the impact they make. And what's funny, Robin, is I love your show and what you communicate, because I think that what I've learned through my lived experience is that making an impact for others, people thank me for this work all the time, but it's actually such a gift. I'm able to be fully present with my kids. We travel, we do dream circles. My children have seen the world, and really I get to live with greater purpose and joy through this. And so I also lead soul journeys for women to connect with who they are and their purpose, and also do some coaching and work with moms, because we change the world and we do all the things for all the people. And it's important to pour into ourselves as well, because when we honor ourselves, we honor the world. So it's been a journey and a great one.
That is so fantastic to hear. And what you're talking about brings together a lot of things that makes life fulfilling, right? You don't learn anywhere more than travel. You don't build relationships stronger than living in the local communities and understanding what life is like every day. And the only way to build lasting joy is to make other people happy, right? So all of these things coming together truly makes for a fulfilling life. And just the way you talk about it, your whole face lighting up, that's something most people don't get about what they do, right? So that in itself is so beautiful. Talk to me a little bit about what have you learned about yourself in this journey, and how are you passing those lessons to your daughters, because they are getting an experience most girls won't get.
Yes. Cass, you hit on so many beautiful things. I think that the biggest lesson in my journey is that, and what I speak to women about, is really to dare to see new possibilities for yourself and for the world. I think so many times we live so small, we live life on default, right? And do these things because of who we think we should be or the life that we think we should have. But when we pause to really connect with who we are and what brings us joy and follow that path, follow that intuition, then that really leads to greater things. And so I encourage women always to really evaluate, are they happy with their lives? Is this what they want to be doing? And I think that when women stop to figure out, oftentimes we sacrifice so much for so many people, but when we stop to really figure out what's important for us, that's how we change the world. And as you mentioned, my journey has been a blessing for me, but also my husband and my kids. I have 2 young girls now who have been able to see the world, through the soul journeys. We do dream circles there, and we find that women are more similar than we are different, right? Whether you're an artisan in Guatemala or a woman traveling from the States. And during these dream circles, we learned about regenerative farming and how 60% of the children in Guatemala are malnourished. And in that experience, my daughter drew her dream circle, and her dream was actually to become a farmer so that she could feed the world for free so that no one would ever starve. And that's the kind of stuff, Cass, that you can't tell your children. Those are experiences that you have. And now, because I followed my passion and purpose and all those things, she has a broader view of the world and her impact and her possibilities. And so there is such an important thing to be said of who we are and how that influences the future generation. So I think that you're right. There's absolutely an importance to evaluate our journeys and look at how we're impacting those around us, especially our children, because that's where the future is.
Yeah. This is so inspiring hearing what you're talking about, the not just the women that you're working with, but your children and their children as well.
Mhm.
How are you being able to find the women in these other countries and first of all, find them, find out what they're doing, being able to bring them into your community of creating something that they're able to sell on the internet or locally, and then be able to really improve their lives financially for themselves and for their families, because we know that when you give money to a woman, she is going to use it to educate her children, to feed her children, to bless her life, bless her family, bless the community. And so how do you go about finding these women and motivating them to say, you can do this? You can get out of a life of poverty or of the sex trade or things like that, and you can do this thing.
Yeah, absolutely, Robin. You're right. Women reinvest 90% of their income into their community. So if you want to change the world, start with women, right? And we actually partner with cooperatives that are already in existence. And so, for instance, our cooperative out in Bolivia, how they meet artisans. So all of our pieces are unique to Threads worldwide, but we co-create designs, et cetera. And so they actually know the communities better than we do, right? Because they live there. And so they, in that particular circumstance, will go to the brothels and canvas, right? Bring out information to share with women and let them know, hey, do you know there are other options available to you? And in that particular cooperative, Sutisana, it's such an inspiring organization because they actually work with women. Women on average attempt to leave the sex trade 7 times before they're successful. And they know that part of that is having childcare, an alternative source of income, some things like that. And so what they do is they have a 6-month training program that provides counseling, daycare. They ask these women, what do you want to do? And for those women, they teach them business skills. If they want to do nails, awesome. They teach them that. If they want to make jewelry, fantastic. We love that because then they get to partner with Threads Worldwide. And that's where they're taught the skills to handcraft each of the pieces. And in that particular cooperative in Bolivia, they really repurpose a lot of leather and suede. And so they're taught how to work with those particular materials. And in that situation, it's actually a healing process. So you can heal up to 10 years of trauma in just 1 year with the soothing sounds of the sewing machines and being able to work with your hands in that way and pound out materials. And so really it is a very healing process all throughout. And then all of our products are sourced here in the States when they're shipped. And actually distributed by the Women's Bean Project out of Colorado. And so that's also another income opportunity for women to overcome poverty. And they actually handle all of our shipping that goes out to the United States. So from the artisans handcrafting the materials and learning the skills to really create better lives for themselves all the way through our shipment fulfillment process, it really is making an impact.
That is deeply meaningful and truly breaking that cycle of trauma.
Yes.
Sex trade is awful, but it's the reality. And the people who engage in it make it very profitable, right? And therefore there's money in it. It's a business. So women fall victim to it a lot of times without realizing. There is a modern day emergence of a version of that with social media. A lot of younger women are thinking that it's easy money by creating soft porn in social media instead of going to school, getting an education, and going to work. So I want to switch the conversation a little bit to say with technology, that entire approach, women being taken into the trade by others versus young women volunteering to get in the trade because it's easy money. Is there anything that your organization is doing or any advice you have for young women who are thinking of this or doing this on how to get out of it and build something that is going to last for themselves?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a hard question, Cass, because women, unfortunately, you do what you need to do to survive, right? And in some cultures too, when there aren't alternatives or opportunities, you kind of pursue what is available or can be seen as the norm in certain situations. And so I think our organization does a great job of actually showing other women there are alternative possibilities. So we do that globally, as I mentioned, and we try to raise awareness. You know, all of our pieces come with a card of the artisan who handcrafted it. This one is a backup woman because of her history, right, and trauma, but it's got a little story on it. So part of it is just education, like knowing what's happening in the globe to invite people into an opportunity to be part of the change. And then to your question, locally, what's happening? We partner with local organizations as well. And so we do a lot of fundraising with nonprofits and have partnered with like Exodus Project, for instance, is one nonprofit that works with local authorities to close down trafficking situations. And so we do a lot of give back campaigns where a percentage of sales will directly go back into those organizations. But it's for the young girls who are looking for an easy way to make money. You know, it's all about confidence. It's all about understanding what is available to you. And so really making sure that we are educating our girls and letting them know that there are alternative ways out there to be successful and create a life that you love, that you can be proud of, and that, you know, really use your unique gifts and talents in this world.
That's really exciting. I would love to hear if you have a couple of examples of women where they were really in a bad spot, were able to connect with your organization or the organizations that you partner with, and what have been some of the changes that you've seen in them as individuals, in their families, in their communities. Do you have a couple of quick examples you could share with us?
Absolutely. I would love to, Robin. Yeah, I'll show you actually one of our artisan cards. This is Amlosette on the side over here. She's one of our artisan partners in Ethiopia, and she transforms bullet shell casings, right, war violence, into beautiful bracelets, necklaces, earrings, etc. Her story is that her and her husband were watching television one day. He had been sick for quite some time, not really sure what was going on. They heard about HIV and they decided that he should get tested. Results came back positive, unfortunately, and she decided to also go ahead and get tested. Her results were also positive. And, you know, anywhere in the world, that's a devastating illness, but particularly in Ethiopia, Robin, there is a lot of stigma. So they were scared to send their children back to school, and there's a lot of superstition. So they were told if they moved to this remote area in the mountains and bathed in this magical water that they would be healed. And they did that. They picked up what they could carry, moved their family, made this long voyage, and ended up, bathing in this water that did not heal them, right? Science. And Amlisette was, left to a life of begging, which she describes as worse than being dead. She was approached by the cooperative with an opportunity to make jewelry, and she started that. And now she says she is not just surviving, she is thriving. Because of this work, she has a home. She has food for her family. She can provide for herself and those around her. And she says she is so grateful for these opportunities. Robin, these aren't handouts. These are women who want to work. They just don't have the opportunities and access. And so since that time, unfortunately during COVID, her HIV was exacerbated, and she was even able to receive an income while she was sick during that time. And so that's the kind of impact that we make, is just one example. This past summer, I visited several times to Guatemala to connect with one of our artisan partners over there. And her dream was for her girls to go to school. In Guatemala, girls typically get married at age 13, 14, maybe start having children at 15 and move in with the in-laws. And so education isn't something that's prioritized because they are, living with their in-laws. And her dream, Marla's dream, was for her children to break that cycle and to be able to dream bigger about what they wanted to create in life. And working with Threads Worldwide, she was able to earn an income and actually support them in going to get an education and talk to her husband. And, that changes the power dynamic when women have income in the household, because she was able to make the case like, no, my children are going to school. Like, this is happening. And I'm so proud to say that when I was back there in August, her middle child is 21 now, had her first baby after getting a college degree. Her youngest is actually going to school now too. And so being able to connect with her and actually meeting her children and seeing the impact that this has made in the world with her, literally doing a dream circle with her child and my child, and being able to see the impact and their lives and what's possible. Now these kids have dreams to not pick coffee for less than $1 a day, but really to become a teacher or an artist or a doctor, right? There's so many new possibilities. And those are just some of the people I've been able to meet firsthand. And there's many more stories exactly like that. But every single three pieces creates an entire day of work for an artisan partner. So behind every piece is a story just like that, of a woman who's not just her life, but her family's life and her entire community has been transformed through this work, which is so exciting.
That is absolutely beautiful. And it's amazing how quickly time flies when we
Yes.
are having a deeply meaningful and energizing conversation. So why don't you take a moment and share with our audience how they can get a hold of you, how they can find out more about your initiatives, the women you're helping, and how they can be a part of this positive change that you are driving around the world.
Absolutely. I would love to be connected. It's such a gift to be able to really have conversations around this. And so you can reach me at Erin Attere across all the usual platforms, Insta, LinkedIn, Facebook, etc. Also Erin Attere at threadsww.com. I have a website, erinattere.com. And if you want to look into gifting and some of the beautiful products we have, threadsworldwide.com/Erin Attere. And I think, I would invite anyone into the conversation in terms of, right now it's holiday gift giving season. So this is the perfect time. You're going to shop anyway. Why not just buy stuff, but buy actually a meaningful gift that is going to light up the person that you gifted to, and also create life-changing work for artisans. I love to help people with individual gifting. Also, corporate giving is a really big thing right now for clients or customers. You can actually make social impact, which is important for companies right now, while shopping that you already would be doing. And so I think that's a big thing. And lastly, I would encourage women to really dare to see new possibilities for yourself and for the world. I would love to talk more to anyone who's interested in doing a soul journey. We have some very deep connections, some very powerful work. We travel with heart-centered women who want to make a difference for themselves. Some women have come back and said, I found my spark again, right? They did all the things for all the people all the time and forgot who they were. We've also had teenagers come back and said, this trip saved my life. I was, suicidal and had anxiety, depression. And once you have a bigger perspective of the world, it just opens up so much new possibility and inspiration. And so happy to connect with anyone in particular around those transformative trips or gifting individually or at corporate level, et cetera.
Thank you so much, Erin. It has been a delightful conversation, but also very impactful conversation. We forget what people are facing in this world every day. And thank you for giving us a pause to then take perspective and figure out how can we do good and still live well, and how we in the process can lift others up. So we truly appreciate you and what you do from the bottom of our hearts. And to our audience out there, yes, Thanksgiving is around the corner, Christmas season is coming, and it is truly a season for loving, caring, giving, and lifting one another up. Why not? Why not take a moment and look into what Erin is doing and the women who are being able to build their lives because of this? And also take a look at yourself and the community around you. What are the different ways you can make an impact? And what are the different ways you can build lasting joy while making a positive impact? And that is the message we want to leave you with as we sign off today.